Hello and welcome to Consumer Times, your go-to source for insightful discussions on consumer trends, environmental concerns, and sustainable living. Today, we delve into a crucial judgment by the Delhi High Court has recently upheld the Central Consumer Protection Authority's (CCPA) decision that restaurants and hotels cannot impose service charges on food bills without the explicit consent of consumers. This landmark judgment reinforces the principle that consumers should not be burdened with additional costs beyond the advertised price unless they voluntarily agree. This ruling is a major victory for consumer protection and transparency in India's hospitality sector. Before break it down, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Consumer Times to motivate us. The background of the case is the dispute began when the National Restaurant Association of India (NRAI) challenged the CCPA's guidelines that prohibited automatic or mandatory inclusion of service charges in food bills. The CCPA had issued these guidelines in July 2022, stating that restaurants and hotels could no longer add service charges to food bills without informing and obtaining consent from consumers. The CCPA emphasized that such practices were unfair trade practices and violated consumer rights under the Consumer Protection Act, 2019. Despite these clear guidelines, many restaurants continued to include service charges, arguing that it was a standard industry practice. This prompted several consumer complaints, leading to the legal battle that culminated in the Delhi High Court's recent verdict. Key highlights of the Delhi High Court verdict are: as service charge is voluntary, not mandatory, the court emphasized that service charges cannot be automatically added to the bill without the consumer's explicit consent. Consumers must be informed and given the choice to pay or refuse the service charge. The CCPA guidelines are valid and enforceable as the court upheld the validity of the CCPA guidelines and dismissed the challenge by the NRAI. The court concluded that the CCPA has the authority to issue such guidelines to protect consumer interests. No hidden or implied charges. Restaurants and hotels must display the service charge policy clearly and inform consumers at the time of placing orders. Any hidden or implied charges without prior consent will be deemed illegal. Right to refuse service charge. Even if a service charge is suggested, consumers retain the right to refuse payment if they are dissatisfied with the service or do not wish to pay the additional fee. How consumers benefit from this decision: empowerment and transparency. Consumers are now empowered to make informed choices about whether to pay a service charge. This ensures transparency in billing practices and prevents consumers from being forced to pay hidden or unjustified fees. Prevention of unfair trade practices. Automatic inclusion of service charges often misleads consumers into believing that payment is mandatory. By prohibiting this practice, the court has reinforced the Consumer Protection Act's provisions against unfair trade practices, better accountability and service quality. When service charges become optional, restaurants and hotels will be incentivized to improve service quality to earn voluntary tips from satisfied customers. This enhances accountability in the hospitality sector. It is financial relief for consumers. Consumers no longer need to worry about paying extra charges that can inflate their food bills. This decision particularly benefits families and groups dining out frequently, offering them financial relief. Freedom to reward good service. Consumers retain the freedom to tip for good service at their discretion. This voluntary system ensures that tipping remains a gesture of appreciation rather than an obligatory payment. Role of the Central Consumer Protection Authority (CCPA). The CCPA, established under the Consumer Protection Act, 2019, is tasked with protecting, promoting, and enforcing consumer rights. Its proactive stance on service charges is part of its ongoing efforts to curb unfair trade practices and protect consumer interests. The authority has also set up grievance redressal mechanisms to handle consumer complaints effectively. The consumers should know: check your bill. Always review your bill to ensure that no service charge is added without your consent. raise concerns. If you notice any unauthorized charges, report the matter to the CCPA or the relevant consumer helpline. Exercise your right to refuse. You are under no obligation to pay a service charge if you have not agreed to it. The Delhi High Court's verdict upholding the CCPA's guidelines marks a significant step towards safeguarding consumer rights. By ensuring that service charges cannot be imposed without consent, the court has established a higher standard of accountability in the hospitality industry. This decision not only prevents consumers from being misled but also reinforces the principle that consumer choice and consent must be respected. As awareness grows, this ruling is expected to lead to more ethical business practices and a better experience for consumers across India. If you found this discussion insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Consumer Times. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay informed and stay sustainable.